why I want to run for politics is really for two reasons. I think first and foremost, I'm committed to my community. So I'm a sixth generation Wisconsinite, and when my ancestors came here, they wanted a better life. And so being part of that story is important. I think the second reason is that when you look at American politics, the female voice is missing. And you can clearly see that in the legislation. So take, for example, paid family leave. We're the only country in the US that doesn't have paid family leave. And it doesn't just impact women, it impacts men, and it's an economic issue. So if you think about it, how can you take care of your sick children, a sick parent, or a sick spouse if you don't get paid? So while we have leave and you can protect your job, that's unpaid. And so it's these type of policies that are economic policies, and I really believe if more women were at the table, that we would really help change that from a legislative perspective. I think first and foremost it needs to be that they can do this. When you look at the political world, it's a lot of men. And not only is it a lot of men, it's also, it's pretty invasive. Women like to be private, and they're looking at your family, and that's something that you're protective of. They're looking at why you want to do this, and so I think it's on teaching women to how do they go about doing this, and giving them the confidence and the understanding that really it's not just about you, it's about your voice. And through that type of training, I think you can really help make a difference. I think the other thing is women also always want to know more, and they want to be over-prepared. And the reality is through trainings, you can give them the basic skills that they need to be successful. So everything from how do I give a speech to what's my campaign budget. And it's those type of things that I believe women need to really say, I can do this. I'm a Democrat, and I've been very lucky that the Democratic Party has a pretty good network. They support women to run for office through all sorts of Democratic trainings. I actually, when I was in Denver, Colorado, there was a women's group that really helped mentor and give the confidence that you can do this and talk about the unknowns and things that you should be prepared for. So yeah, absolutely, and I think that's been a big part of it. So when I first really got involved in college, until today, they've provided that support. Two people come to mind for sure. So first and foremost is my grandmother. She was one of the first group of women to serve in World War II, and which is pretty impressive. Her parents at the time said, "You're a woman, you're not going to be serving in the military." And she said, "I hear you, but I believe in my heart that's something that I need to do." And so she was a wave in the Navy, and I remember talking to her about that and saying, how could you do that? You went against your parents, women weren't in the military. And one of the things she said is that, Sarah, when you see something, you need to be a part of the solution and change it. She said, I wanted to be a part of that solution, and so that's what I did. And so she's really kind of instilled this service first concept that I always have really appreciated. And then I would say the second person is Shirley Chisholm, who was one of the first, who was the first African-American female in Congress. And one of my favorite quotes from Shirley Chisholm is she said, "If you don't have a seat at the table, bring a folding chair." And I think when I really look at women, sometimes we get crowded out, and what we need to do is bring our folding chairs and really fight for it. And being the first African-American in Congress, I can only imagine how difficult that was for her. But she made sure her voice was heard, and I think she's really a role model, not just for me, but millions of other Americans. I would say two things. One is we need to get more women in the political operation. So if you think about it, there aren't a lot of women campaign managers in the US, or a lot of women finance directors. And so most of the campaign operation itself are run by men. And so a woman candidate, I think sometimes she wants a diverse team, but part of that diversity is gender. And so getting more women into playing in the political operative and kind of helping with that. I think the second piece is getting more women to office. So the US still only has 18.9% in Congress, and that's a problem. And the state legislators are even lower than that. And so it's really looking at how can we continue to get more women to office. Yes, we have Hillary Clinton as the first presumptive nominee of a major party, but it doesn't end there. I think that's only the beginning. And so really figuring out how can we bring women more into this political game.